started in 1970 with our first fox cub, and we grew very slowly. We moved here in 79 and we set up the trust in 86. Every year we rear 20 or 30 fox cubs, and our aim is to keep them as wild as possible and get them back out to the wild. And we have a really good success rate at doing that. As soon as the cubs are feeding themselves, they're put into a group with similar sized cubs, a sort of family sized group, and then we keep human contact to a minimum, and we make quite a lot of noise and quite clumsy when we're working with them, so they don't really learn to trust people. They become a bit nervous, and we do get most of them back out to the wild. But sometimes you just get a fox that seems to have a tendency to like people. We won't release any that we're worried about that are too tame, because some people are a bit hysterical about foxes. And we didn't rear him. He just invited himself to a barbecue at Lockerbie one evening about 3 years ago and joined in with the merriment. And one lady realised this wasn't normal and brought him to us, and he's exceptionally friendly fox. He's lovely. Some people have got really the wrong idea about foxes. They're really worried about them, and they're quite small animals, and even the ones like in Glasgow that are tame, if you like, they're not that tame. They know their limits. They will only let people get within a certain distance of them, and then they'll go. But some people worry that they're going to eat their cats or dogs or children, so it's quite good for people to see a friendly fox. Well, we take all Scottish wildlife, birds and animals, so a whole range from pigeons, sparrows, everything that you might find in your garden, to more exotic things like ospreys, peregrines, otters. We get quite a lot of roe deer, badgers, foxes, and huge numbers of hedgehogs. We've got 75 now. The reason we have got so many this year is really because the weather's been so topsy-turvy, and a lot of them have been breeding quite late on in the year, so the hedgehogs that are born late in the summer or early in the autumn just don't have enough time to eat enough food to put on enough weight to hibernate successfully. And so in like October, November and even in December this year, people were finding tiny little hedgehogs 200 grams in weight, and they should have been about 700 if they were to survive hibernation. Once we've got them over their first week, some of these little autumn juveniles are quite poorly when we get them. They know that they should be eating a lot more, and so they're spending a lot of the day, sort of daytime as well as nighttime, foraging for food. And well, that's quite good, because that's how they're seen. People spot them out in the daytime, and a lot of people know that's not right, and so it must have a problem. But they're actually spending so much time foraging for food that they're using more energy than they're replacing, because there's not much natural food for them by then. Hedgehogs in England are definitely in decline, there's no doubt about that. Just from our own experience of seeing really road traffic accidents, we're seeing less. But obviously there are a lot of hedgehogs around, hence the number of hedgehogs that we have here just now. Though most of the ones, or pretty much all the ones that are here now, are going to be here till spring, because we don't release in the middle of winter. Even it's gone a bit milder just now, but there's really very little natural food around for them. And they also, as I say, they rely on their nest to keep them warm, and the nest is about the size of a football, made of lots of dried grass and leaves, and they turn round and round inside this pile of vegetation when they've gathered it, and their spines will comb all that vegetation into layers, so it's really well insulated. There's layers of air trapped in between the vegetation. And of course there's not a lot of dry vegetation around just now, so it would be really hard for a hedgehog to let it go at this time of year and expect it to do very well. Well, if you can't fill it while the seal tight. A lot of these enclosures are empty just now because we're quieter at this time of year. That black-headed gull I just brought out of the hospital this morning, it came in about a fortnight ago, couldn't fly at all. It was a collision case. I don't know what it had collided with, but it had a lot of sort of muscle damage, tissue damage. But as you see, it's flying around now. It just needs to have a bath and preen its feathers and make sure it's waterproof. These were exceptional. We got these day-old mallard ducklings on Halloween, whereas we get most of our mallard ducklings in April and May, maybe June. It was a really, really late clutch. Nobody could believe they were at Maxwell Park in Glasgow, and had so little chance of surviving at that time of year that the rangers went into the pond and scooped them up. In fact, I think there were 10 maybe. I think there were 10 when they were spotted the first day. By the next morning there were 6, and by the time the rangers got to go and rescue them, there were only the 4 left. But they've done really well. One of them was picked up with an injured wing, and the other one was just a youngster that was found on the ground with no nest, to be seen in the area. Young barn owls that are on the ground is generally a very good reason for that. They stay in the nest for quite a long time and actually return to the nest to get food from the parents. So we finished off the rearing here, and it's good that we've been able to pair them up, because we usually find a site on a farm, an old barn or hayloft or something like that to release them from. And it's good to be able to put out a pair together. This is probably the patients that's causing most concern at the moment, which is a buzzard, which we got it 2 days ago, really, really thin. So it was on fluids for 24 hours, and now I'm giving it a small feed every few hours. Bit of a silly time of year to be a blue pigeon. Picked up on Christmas Eve 2 days ago. Most of them are quite healthy, but this one, which you might be able to see, has got a fungal infection on its face. Let's see if I can get it facing the right way. You see that? It's got quite a scabby face. So, in a way, well, it was picked up because it was small, but it had this problem as well, so it can get that treated. There are a surprising number of regular people who find things. I suppose a lot of people will see them, but there are a lot of people who always do something about it if they find an injured bird. This one was hit by a car, but we're quite hopeful that this one's going to make a full recovery. Most of the owls will be road traffic accidents, although we get some that get tangled in nets. In May and June, if you come in here, it's just full of baby birds really that we've been hand rearing, and some small mammals, rabbits, hares, hedgehogs. Well, winter's quieter than summer, definitely, and because in the winter most things that are coming are actually adult things that are injured, so they can feed themselves, or if you have to hand feed them, it's once or twice a day, whereas baby birds are really demanding. They want to be fed every half hour, and we might have 60, 70 or more in here. So that's nasty. Just as well we put it in. Got to be in there. And we'll keep him on fluids probably for 24 hours now, every 4 hours. One of the most common reasons, and probably the most disappointing one, is fishing tackle. We get a lot that have swallowed hooks, a lot that are just tangled up in line. Others have had collision accidents. They sometimes just fly into fences or buildings. Quite a lot will land on roads. If it's a wet road at night when the lights are shining on it, it looks like water. And some have just got a range of infections. They live in fairly close proximity to each other in some of the parks in Glasgow and other places, so parasites can build up and cause problems.
Where do you get funding from?
We do all our own fundraising. So we have a membership scheme, sponsor a patient scheme. We have one open day a year. Our members are really good and supportive, and they'll organise events themselves to raise money for us.